Hi guys. I've run into just about every technical difficulty trying to get this video up. It's just one of those days. Light's not working, cat's jumping in front of the screen, and I found out that even though Facebook released a live video screen share option, you cannot layer your windows. So I want to show you guys some of our client examples of stats, and I don't want to show you their names for privacy, so I need to layer the window. So I'm recording this via Zoom, and I will upload it to social media, which I don't recommend you doing because live video will get you just a ton more views if you do it live, especially on the Facebook platform itself. So don't do what I'm doing. But for those of you who do get to see this, who it reaches, I want to go over some information to hopefully help you if you're a marketer or a CEO in the B2B industry. To give you a little bit of background in case you don't know me, my name is Jessica Steele-Menard. I'm the creator of Steele Social Media. We're a B2B marketing firm. We specialize in digital marketing, social media, and social advertising. So today I want to go over two things to help you. One is talking about LinkedIn and some huge myths that just about every single person out there right now is kind of falling into. And then the second piece is talking about organic reach, which you might or might not have heard that organic reach is falling drastically for brand pages, especially on Facebook, and my guess would be that that's soon coming to LinkedIn as well. So something to be mindful of, and I will walk through some tips on how to get past that challenge. So first, I'm guessing you can see my screen. Just let me double check here. Yeah, okay. So first, let's talk about LinkedIn. And I know this isn't live, so if you guys want to ask me questions when you're seeing this recording, just do so in the comments and I'll be checking them and I'll get back to you, any questions you have. So one of the most common things I've heard of since way back when social media was just burgeoning for B2Bs in general is all this talk about what platform should you be on. Should you be on LinkedIn? Should you be on Facebook? And it was always a case that B2Bs would be on LinkedIn. And sometimes they dabble on Facebook, maybe put a page up there. And as social media has evolved, B2C businesses have really just taken over Facebook. You see their marketing everywhere, and they've moved on to other platforms as well, like Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram. So they've really kind of expanded into other platforms, but B2Bs have stayed mainly on LinkedIn, which makes sense. You have other colleagues, it's a business-based platform. There's a lot of relevant information on there. There's groups on there. I think lately too, though, we're also seeing some of the downfalls of LinkedIn. And my guess is that the developers there and the strategists behind LinkedIn will adjust the platform as Facebook's doing to kind of address these challenges. But one thing you're seeing is just a constant deluge of marketing in-mail requests and requests for connections from people you've never heard of, and just your in-mail box is, I would probably guess, 90% spammers. And I shouldn't say spammers, are people trying to do what the strategists say you should do, which is send messages on LinkedIn. That's how you meet, that's how you connect. But it's just becoming worse than email. You can't filter those out. It's just not an ideal way to sell or market for B2B anymore, in my opinion at least. You're just caught in this huge bucket of spammers. The other thing people have been using for LinkedIn are the groups, which pretty quickly got into kind of the same thing where people are always just promoting their own marketing materials. So it becomes much less of a discussion and much more of a, okay, let's promote our white paper. And I don't know if a lot of people are reading those discussions. You can adjust your settings so you receive LinkedIn updates weekly, which is great. And there are some fairly great ways to use LinkedIn groups. Don't get me wrong, I think they're very valuable. For instance, starting a conversation in the comments of someone's post will help because they'll get that notification and they'll want to engage with you. But it's not nearly as much of a mass medium that you can reach a lot of people at once, in my opinion, at least anymore. So LinkedIn is getting really hard to use for marketing purposes. And beyond that, this chart that you'll see shows the audiences on LinkedIn versus Facebook. And if you can't tell by now, I'm trying to preach a little bit for B2Bs to start using Facebook. And I know everyone is going to have some resistance to that. It's a whole nother platform. You know, social media takes up so much time to begin with. Going to another platform is not ideal. But there's really easy ways to do it. Using something like Hootsuite, you can cross-post, use the same content, and I'm telling you, you will be better off for it. So let me get into some of the reasons why. Obviously, there's more people on Facebook, but not just more people, and these stats are from Pew Research Center. The citation is very small in case you can't see that. They're not only more people on Facebook, much more, if you can see from this graph, but people often frequent Facebook more often. And you can probably see this in yourself maybe, or some of your colleagues. How often do you log into LinkedIn? You know, maybe once a week, maybe less. You know, I think it's been an important thing to be on LinkedIn if you're in the business world, but you know, not a lot of people actually go on there to check every day. And usually if they are, they're a marketer or a sales guy. So you won't see CEOs and other people that you're probably trying to reach on there as much, which is really important. So you can see here, LinkedIn, daily frequency, a lot lower, even less than daily is a lot higher. And it's pretty much flipped for Facebook. People will go there more often and often daily or more. So that's really interesting because that just opens up your reach possibilities that much more. So keep that in mind. And then this argument we hear a lot, or I hear a lot, is the demographics. So we're trying to reach males in their 40s, let's say, 50s, 60s in the business world. They're not going to be on Facebook, right? Well, actually, no, that's completely wrong. And I mean, think about this. Think about maybe when Facebook first started, but think about now. Are your parents on there? Are other people you know in the business world on Facebook? And maybe you're not connected to them because they're business associates, but they're on there. And they're connecting every day to their family members, sharing pictures, using it just the same as everyone else is. And we see that proven now with these stats. So if you take a look here, ages 50 to 65 plus, Facebook has 61% of its population on Facebook versus LinkedIn 21%, right? That's crazy. So why are people saying that the demographics of LinkedIn are so much better? It's because you're excluding a lot of people from your population of users because it's selected to a very specific demographic of business users, which is great. You know, your leads will be qualified for sure, but you can still reach those same qualified leads on Facebook, and they'll probably be there more often. And even better, you don't have to be connected to them marketing as a brand person. On LinkedIn, you can still see other connections. You can still see like third connections or so forth, but the visibility is still more limited from a brand standpoint. Okay, so that being said, if I haven't convinced you that you need to be on Facebook, then you know it's completely what is best for your business. So again, LinkedIn is great, and as long as you're on there, that's a good basis. But if you really want to use social media as a lead gen platform and awareness building platform, then you need to be on Facebook. At least at this moment, everything changes. So that's what I'm preaching right now. So the other piece of the puzzle that I wanted to talk to you today is about organic social media reach. And it's a huge problem. You know, no one can escape it from a brand standpoint. It's not specific to Facebook. It's not specific to LinkedIn. All these social media platforms are getting smarter. And it's really changing really the core definition of social media. And all of this huge growing problem of organic reach is this. Facebook is realizing, specifically Facebook in this instance, that their brand posts are essentially almost spanning their user base. So they want to make sure that whenever anyone goes on Facebook, they have you know, a great experience. They're seeing their friends, or seeing things that they want to see. On the other hand, they want to increase their advertising revenues. So right now, if you're posting as a brand page on Facebook, your organic reach amount is only 3% of your audience. That's incredibly small, and it's done very purposely. So if you're posting as a brand on Facebook, and by as a brand I mean it's a page on Facebook that is called the name of your business, no one's seeing it. There are ways that people will see it, but it has to be self-selected from the user end to see your post first. So I'm assuming if you're trying to reach a new audience, it's going to be really hard to get people to go in there and select to see you first, because they're not seeing you in the first place. It just can't happen. So this is a really big problem for brands, because the whole element of social media was we're going to reach people on these platforms. We're going to speak to them organically without, it's a free medium, so why not? You know, that was the essence of social media. But now people are saying, well, you know what? Actually, you have to pay for this now, just like every other type of marketing, which has its pluses and minuses, but it's something that if you have a pure organic social media strategy right now, it's something that you definitely have to think about is moving into the social media advertising space. So I've been talking about Facebook, Facebook in this specific example of reach, but I can almost guarantee LinkedIn, as I'm sure you know, has its own advertising platform on LinkedIn. So most likely you'll be seeing the same thing happen to LinkedIn, if not already. I don't know what the reach status is of organic versus paid, but even before adjusting their algorithms, you know that your reach is limited to people who are connected with you, and by other algorithm things like how many people are engaging with your posts and things like that. So You know, I think things will be moving on LinkedIn towards a smaller organic reach for brand posts specifically, especially if you look through the newsfeed now, you know, unless a post is getting a ton of engagement, or I know there's something special about it, which hopefully there is on your post anyways, there's a really small chance that you're seeing business posts on your LinkedIn feed that aren't sponsored. So take a look at that and see what you see. But that should be getting even smaller in the future, the likelihood of that. So what do? We talked about social advertising. Definitely something to consider. And I know, again, everyone is going to want to jump in on the LinkedIn bandwagon and say, you know, we've tried LinkedIn, it works for us, it's our demographics, and that's great, but there's something to consider there too, versus Facebook. Facebook, the cost to advertise, if you know what you're doing, is extremely lower. And even really if you don't know what you're doing. So I would say if you're getting cost per click, so if someone clicks on your advertisement, the cost of that on Facebook will be about $1 per click, versus LinkedIn, there's a spend minimum amount. And that's definitely in the hundreds, which is not a big budgeting, you know, amount for some bigger businesses. But if you're just starting out and you don't know what's working and you have a lot of testing to do to see what does work, you're going to be spending a lot, at least double, if not triple the amount on LinkedIn versus Facebook. So even if you want to concentrate your advertising on LinkedIn, which is fine, I would definitely recommend starting to test on Facebook first. LinkedIn is a lot easier to use than Facebook because they don't have the same technology behind it, to be candid. Their targeting capabilities and their algorithm is just so far behind Facebook. And part of that is because consumer brands have just been you know, doing this for a long time now and have very specific needs and very specific targeting preferences, and Facebook is catering to that because they want their business. The other thing I hear is, well, LinkedIn allows me to target my ads based on business title. True, but so does Facebook. It was removed for a little bit because of the issues with the recent election and targeting by other countries. We won't get into that, but that's what happened, and they removed those to make sure that they weren't taking advantage of any targeting capabilities. Since then, those have come back, so you can still use targeting by title on Facebook, but they also have a ton of other capabilities. So if someone's not listing their title on Facebook, which they might not be, you have a really powerful targeting capabilities on there. Which will probably get even more specific than title. So for instance, if you're a marketer watching this and you want to reach other marketers, you know that they've probably like HubSpot or Marketo or very specific tools that if you weren't a marketer, there's no reason why you would have liked that tool. Or maybe if there is, but you can create an algorithm preference that layers on different aspects so you can make sure that your leads are absolutely qualified. You can go by size of business. I mean, the targeting is so intense that if I wanted to target, you know, someone in the next building over on a certain floor, you can do that. I mean, it's pretty scary, honestly, but those are the capabilities. And again, LinkedIn doesn't offer all of those things, but because the audience is so wider, the targeting is so more powerful, you'll get more accurate results when you test. And you want to test things like messaging, copy, how you're positioning your product, your service, graphics you're using or videos you're using. All those little tweaks can double or half your advertising costs, because your costs go up or down based on how your ads are performing. And I'll show you some examples of that in a second from actual clients of ours that we've seen. But that's another reason too. Also, if you're just starting, and this is going to sound like I'm advertising for myself, but it's true. If you're just starting, you definitely want to try to use someone's help that has done this before, because your ad costs will be lower, and you'll get them lower, and then you can scale those. And sometimes, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going to keep going and going, and you might have one that works by happenstance, but you'll end up spending more, and people will probably get annoyed, honestly, by the post. So you want to definitely know what you're doing, how to speak to your target audience, how to get them to click, and kind of the relationship that you lead them down from the first advertising to hopefully the point where they become a customer. So beyond, if you don't want to pay for advertising, if you're just not at that point, that's fine. There are a couple things that you can do to increase your odds of being seen on the organic algorithm of the social platform. And you might already know these, but it's really important, because B2Bs have a tendency to not want to use video because it takes so much more effort than B2C, to be candid, because you want your videos to be scripted. You need your thought leaders, your people in front of your business to be prepared, whether it's your CEO. It's very much less of an ad hoc kind of situation where you can bring up your cell phone and start recording, although it should be that way. And that's something we help our clients with. But in the meantime, it's a lot harder to use video. But if you do use video, especially live video, you will be seen. Facebook is favoring video. They're trying to start their own TV platform, or really they already have. And LinkedIn is doing the same. So if you do a live video, you will get seen. I promise you. So that's one way to kind of jump outside of that reach bracket. The other piece is social advocacy. So a lot of companies have started programs like these, and the benefits of them are really great for this, because you're extending your reach with each person, and especially if they're posting to their personal profiles. So if they're posting to their personal Facebook page, make sure that's an option. Their personal LinkedIn account, make sure that's an option. In LinkedIn groups, every single person on each platform is extending your reach. So there's a lot I could go into with social advocacy, but I just want to highlight that as a method to get past that reach hurdle. And this is just a quick stats to show, evidence of each of those 3 areas increasing overall in the industry, because people are, everyone's addressing these problems. So the other thing I want to show with you, just to kind of highlight some of these, is, and I need to just block some names real quick so you can see. Give me a second. I think this will really help you understand. Okay, now I'm gonna share my screen. There we go. Okay, so this is a B2C company, but I want to show you something because it highlights something I was talking to you about, video. So video will help you show up in the news feed, but it will also help your ad stats go down. So if you can see this last one, I just realized the name was showing there. This last one, it was $2.24 per click, which is super high, incredibly. I mean, it doesn't seem that high, but it is high. And when you keep multiplying those by clicks, you can get a high price. But we started incorporating videos, and it went down to 50 cents per click. So that's kind of amazing. Okay, so let me change this again. Okay, so here's another one. And this I wanted to highlight to show you just how you can change the cost by knowing some different items to test. So these are just campaigns. Within each of these campaigns, there's probably about 12 different ads, and maybe 3 different ad sets, which is different targeting. So I know that's a lot of ad speak, but just a reason to use someone who kind of knows the platform. But just from tweaking those, we got down from $1.29 to 36 cents per click. So once you find something that works like this, you can really scale that. And this is relatively small ad spend, but if you know that you're getting around 36 cents clicks per this ad and these targeting settings, then you can scale that really high. So that's when you'll see a higher return on investment, and you're limiting the amount that you're spending up front. So that's really interesting. Okay, now one last thing I want to show you. There, I finally figured out that sharing. Okay, thanks for bearing with me. This is the last thing. So here, this is a B2B HR company who's targeting other businesses, obviously. And this was all graphics, so no videos. And again, as I mentioned, within each one of these campaigns, there's not hundreds, 12 or so ads. But we ended up, this was just $100 test. So with $100 spent, we found, where was it? We found a campaign that was performing at 44 cents per click. But if you actually go and drill down into the specific ads, you'll see an ad that was performing for 12 cents per click. So with $100 test, we went down from $1.50 to 12 cents. So if you scale that however much, thousands of dollars, whatever's in your ad budget, you can imagine how many more clicks you can get if you divide by 12 cents versus $1.50. And then if you compare that to LinkedIn and their ad prices, imagine doing that many ad tests on LinkedIn and what the prices would be. It's just not the same. So yeah, hopefully you can find something that works, but if you start on Facebook, why not? And it's more accurate because of the targeting to your qualified leads specifically, and their interests, and the population on there and the population seeing it. So again, feel free to go on LinkedIn and use this, but I would recommend starting with Facebook. So that was a lot. I hope it was really helpful. I would love if you asked me any questions or anything you found useful in the comments below, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.